You're watching TVC Breakfast. That the Osun State governorship election may have come and gone, but the victors' camp are still reveling in their victory. And days after, reactions have not ceased on the conduct and outcome of that election, especially with the defeat of the incumbent governor, Gboyega Oyetola, a rare feat in Nigeria's political history. The candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Ademola Adeleke, was declared winner by the Independent National Electoral Commission after he polled over 400,000 votes in the overall results from the local government areas. INEC has gotten kudos as well as knocks for the conduct of the entire process, while observers who keenly monitored developments during the poll say money politics in the Nigerian electoral system is a challenge that needs to be tackled. Joining us now to analyze the overall conduct of the Osun governorship election via Zoom is former Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Diron Odeyemi. It's nice to have you join us, Diron.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to join you.
You're welcome. And here in the studio, we have Managing Editor, the Avalon Daily, Ayodele Adio. It's nice to have you join us. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Now, let me start from the studio, Ayodele. The conduct of the Osun election, a lot of people said it was an improvement of the Ekiti election when it comes to the process, all of that. However, when it came out, commendations have gone to INEC and then even the people for conducting themselves in the way they did and all of that. But what's your overall assessment of the election?
I mean, I think that INEC must be commended. And I think that the same commendation must go to the president who signed the Electoral Act. Just like commendation must also go to civil society organizations and the media, that forced the conversation for technology to be adopted in the Electoral Act. You recall that members of the National Assembly made debates at the time that this technology wouldn't work in certain local governments. There wouldn't be network here or there. But the media and civil society organization took them to task. And today, we can all be proud that we can attest to the fact that an election was credible, it was transparent, and most importantly, it has inspired confidence in the electorate that their votes will count and that the people who they elect will now have legitimacy, over the government that they will preside over. And, as a concerned Nigerian, I think I'm proud that that has happened and it can only get better. And so for the Osun elections, you could see the jubilations on the streets, and that was largely because people felt that their votes counted, and that because the process was credible and transparent. And it's kudos to everybody involved and every stakeholder to say that finally we're taking our elections to a point where we can all be proud of our electoral process and it can only get better.
Well, I will get into a stage where INEC will become less and less of an institution on our faces because, unlike years before, you're always concerned about what INEC did, what INEC did not do. But, in the US, for instance, you don't even know what the electoral body is. You have no idea. You only follow the system because the system works so you don't have to wait for whoever is in charge of elections to make a statement because everything works smoothly. Only the last electoral system in the US when Trump tried to ram down his own numbers, that people started looking at where votes were being counted and things like that and so on. So where are we getting to a stage where we might not even know who the name of the INEC chairman may not even be known to people because he just does his job in the shadows because the system works like clockwork.
Oh yes. I think we're getting to that point. The moment we scale through all of these teething hurdles that, our elections have been going through over the last decade, I think that, Nigerians will begin to de-emphasize the need to always put the person of the INEC chairman in the front burner. And especially when it gets to the point where the electoral reforms that we have enjoyed at the federal government now is reflected in the states, because that's where the devil is. Because many of these, and it's shocking that we're having better reforms at the federal level and in local and state elections that are closer to us. It's a completely different story. So we hope to get to a point where state electoral commissions can begin to mirror the kind of progress that has been made at the federal level. And then at that point, Nigerians would worry less about who or where the INEC chairman comes from, and all of that. And then we can have, a more sanitized electoral process. And that really is my hope and my dream.
All right, let me bring Diro to the conversation now. Diro, you followed the elections in Osun State, and let me say congratulations to your party for winning the election there. However, the point there is, as it is right now, a lot of reasons have come up regarding what gave the PDP an edge and what made APC lost the election and all of that. Of course, that's the game. It's the game of somebody must win and somebody must lose. But from your assessment, how did you assess the outcome of that election regarding from the window of what gave PDP an edge and over APC?
Oh, we lost.
It seems we lost the line there. All right, we'll have him back on. Diro Adeyemi is the Deputy National or former Deputy National Public Secretary of the People's Democratic Party. All right, let me come to you here. Now, a lot of persons have said that the crisis in APC gave room for the PDP to win.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the story. Because, yes, if you looked at, people would like to blame the Gboyega factor. But if you looked at the results from Militia East, he won his own local government. Interestingly, the local government of BC Akonde, Ida, he lost. One of the most progressive local government in Osun State, which is the Obokun local government, where former Bola Ige always, ran on. They lost that local government.
That's when you say they lost Oyetola.
Yes, Oyetola. Yes, APC lost.
But the gap in even where Ademola won was not that.
No, it wasn't. Yes,
strong.
Exactly.
It wasn't strong.
It wasn't strong. So my point is, the person they want to blame at least won his own local government, right? And the one they relied on, which is like Omishori, for instance, in Ife. PDP won 2 of the local governments in Ife, and where they lost, it was quite close,
yes.
right? So for me, it wasn't so much about the infractions in the APC as it was about the ground game of the PDP. And I'll just quickly run through it. The highest number of new registered voters in the Southwest was in Osun State, 708,000 new registered voters. In 2018, the PDP gathered 255,000 votes. In this election, they gathered 403,000 votes, which means they increased their number of votes by 58%. So the details and the devil is in the numbers and in the data, because what the PDP had done is to increase voter turnout and to ensure that in places where the stronghold Ede of the candidate was, they had more numbers turn out to vote. And they had increased the voter turnout, and that's what had, costed them to victory.
But there was the Oshogbo factor.
Oh yes, they won in Oshogbo too. So if you looked at it, what they did primarily,
PDP,
the PDP, was to increase the voter turnout, right? And for instance, the average voter turnout in the Southwest is below 34%. The voter turnout in this election was about close to 50% if you looked at it. So the real strategy behind the scene, from my own perspective, was that they turned out the number of voters and they registered new people and they ensured that those people went to the polls to vote. And that was
Could it also mean that it was also because of the personality of the governor that it did not inspire his own people to come? No, because you have to look at it both ways.
True, yes. I mean, many have said, and you see, politics is really funny, because the man has paid salaries, he's increased IGR in his state, he's put Osun in a better fiscal condition than they were before.
Did a lot of infrastructure work, education.
And one would say electoral work speak for you.
Moribund clinics around the state.
So what really happened?
By fiscal and normal governance standard, you would say that Oyetola had performed spectacularly well. But I think that for some reason, he seemed like someone that could not connect at an emotional level to the people.
Exactly.
And once you can't do that at most times, it becomes a problem with the electorate. And the opposition can usually capitalize on that, and spin ideas are.
So there's
all right. We have
there's
Zero back
fighting.
now.
There's the politics, as I said yesterday, of governance.
Yeah.
There's politics of election.
election,
Of course,
exactly.
They play the politics of governance.
but not of election.
All right, we have Diro Deyemi back up now. Diro, it's nice to have you join me. I was asking you earlier on what your assessment of the outcome of the election in Osun State was.
Yeah, we give glory to God for the good outcome. I want to give kudos to the INEC for organizing one of the best elections so far. And actually, what we did as a political party was to study the situation in Ekiti State. We went there, we studied how the election was conducted, and we were convinced that there was no rigging, everything went orderly, and we came third in Ekiti. So when we got back to Osun, and people became apprehensive and were calling us that, they have started voting in government house, they've taken some beavers machine to Oyetola's house and some other things. We were able to calm them down that their votes we count, and that was exactly what happened. And people are quite conscious of, choosing their leader this time around because of what happened the last time. Because part of the campaign we did was to educate them that you should take a revenge from what APC did against you in 2018. And what was that? We had quite a larger number of votes, more than them. But they started the rigging by voiding many of our votes. And after that, even having done that, we still had more than enough to declare us the winner. But they came up with another theory of rerun. And eventually we lost everything in court. So part of our campaign was this time around, we won't give room for rerun. We have to overrun them so that at the end of the day, there wouldn't be any reason for them to say they even want to go to tribunal. Though we understand that an average Nigerian doesn't take defeat easily. There is no spirit of good sportsmanship anywhere. If you tell them that, they will tell you they are not playing football, they are playing politics. So we understand that, but by and large, we give kudos to President Muhammadu Buhari for signing the electoral law at the end of the day, because it really helped. So there was no rigging anywhere, and there were minimal violence. So by and large, it was a good outcome.
Yeah, you used the word overrun. I don't think the margin of victory will be described as overrun as it is. But that's not my question. My question is this. How would you assess the monetization based of monetization of the election, especially in the background of what Adeleke said? Many people thought was a scandal that, if it is dollar, we have it. If it is euro, we have it. If it is... what's the other currency? Pounds, we have it. And it mentioned Nigeria last almost as a content for patriotic, reason. I mean, when a candidate talks like that, what kind of inspiration do you expect from him, during the elections, and even if it comes to govern?
It's quite unfortunate that people did not ask reasons, or they did not know what transpired before he made that statement. We are quite aware of the fact that Ademola Adeleke, during his campaign for Oyetola in 2018, came to Osun State and boasted about pounds, dollar, euro, and everything, that he would spend his last penny to ensure his cousin Oyetola emerged as the governor in Osun State. The video went viral, and I wonder why nobody's talking about that. So this time around, during one of our campaigns, one of our supporters asked the question, how are we going to do it with these Lagos people that are coming with Naira, with Euro, with dollar, and everything? And he said, yes, if they are coming with that, we also have to. He has to say that just to give hope to this, to our supporters. Or do you expect him to say, yes, I don't have the money again, they are going to overrun us with their dollar and Naira? That was exactly the same that happened. But when it comes to propaganda, you only choose that aspect that you want to use against the candidate. But at the end of the day, some people believe that the candidate does not know anything other than dancing. Yes, good. If the people of Osun State, yes, we want him to continue to dance for us, that is their wish with their votes. And coming to the issue of vote buying, it's worrisome. It's very, very worrisome and very disturbing because we did not rule out the element of vote buying in this election. APC, in fact, it got to a stage that even the electorate were making demands. They said, well, APC is ready to give us 10,000 naira. In some cases, they said 15,000 naira. So how much do you want to give to us? We told them we don't have the money. We are not in government. We don't have the money. Go and vote, according to your conscience. If you take 10,000 naira, then you are spending the 10,000 naira for the next 4 years of sovereign and everything. To some of them, yes, it was a good campaign strategy, and they bought it. They bought into it, and you hear them singing, "Owo Wogbo, 10,000, Owo Wogbo." We didn't give them money. We don't have such money. We only spend our own money on logistics. Of course, we have to pay our polling booth agents and for some logistics, not to buy votes. But it was worrisome that APC actually offered the electorate 10,000, 15,000 naira. At a point in time, we reported some of them to the police, and the police or the SSS will tell you, yes, in as much as they are not doing it, at the poll center, they are not called, they are not concerned about it. Some will even ask and tell you, yeah, they are buying, you go and buy too. Leave us with this, your political wala. That was the issue. But it's quite unfortunate that the election was monetized, but at the end of the day, the people of Osun State voted according to their conscience.
Are you saying that your people did not give money yesterday during the election?
I know that question.
They said that you guys gave 30,000 naira, and that you gave more money than the APC did. And that some people say APC was giving 10,000, you guys giving 30. In fact, our observer was here yesterday and attested to the fact that you guys also gave money. So don't come here and say that. And then the other point again is that you just confirmed. Hold on, you have your time. You just confirmed that your man Adeleke boasted about Naira talk. Is that a model? Because you are trying to say that he said it because somebody else said it. We have no evidence about whether he said it or not. But he said it. Why don't you stick to what he said? And whether as a model your governor could have fouled the air with money.
I did not deny it. He said it. It was quoted right. But what I said was, you did not know the reason why he made those statements. And it's not a crime if you reassure your supporters in any way. Do you expect him to say, if APC are coming with their dollar this time around, I don't have any money to spend? Of course, we will have lost that election right there.
That means he was going to give them the dollars. So did they fulfill his promise to give dollars and pounds?
We don't even have it. Don't you make promise for you to get something? Don't you reassure your supporters?
You mean he lied to his people?
Ruben.
I'm not Ruben, please. I'm Sam. I'm Sam. Did he lie to his people?
What I'm telling you is that we gave them hope and assurance that in whatever way APC comes into that election, we match them. And he ended it by telling them it's going to be fire for fire. If you even want to take that up again.
Yes, it was not fire, so it didn't. So did you guys have fire that you hit somewhere?
Was any fire reported from Osun State election? No, maybe perhaps because of the threat we gave to them. And if you care to know, a day before that election, you must know that the archman for APC, that is the head of the talks, was arrested, and that even gave confidence to the people to come out for that election. If that had not been done by the security agency, perhaps we would not have recorded the number of votes we have in the state. So if we did not tell them it was going to be fire for fire, perhaps the security agency would not have done anything. So in whatever way our strategy worked, yes, naira for naira, dollar for dollar, fire for fire.
So you admit that you guys spent money.
You are a lawyer. You are a journalist.
I'm not a lawyer.
All right, let's go back to the studio.
Don't convince the listener. Don't convince the listener with what you are saying. You don't draw up a conclusion. What I've just said was that we gave hope to our people, and of course we threatened, and the security came in at the middle, and stop whatever was to be the crisis, and we had a free and fair election.
All right, let's come back to the studio. Ayodele, we have, at least from what you said earlier, the governor is, when it comes to governance, he has been on track, putting things together. That was why the people of Osun voted him in the first place. And he's doing that. But if he didn't get it right from the politics of election, and now we have somebody coming on board, what do you think that residents of Osun State will be looking for in the new governor? Because they have spoken.
Well, I mean, I think one of the issue that they claim that they had, with the governor is the fact that the arrears that were owed from the previous administration, was a cardinal electoral promise that he was going to pay those arrears, which he never did. I mean, I didn't where the monies were going to come from. I don't know, but he had kept to his own part of the bargain, not to owe salaries, not even for a month. But to your point about what the electorates expect, again, the electorates are a very dynamic and complex people, where sometimes you really cannot hold on to what they really want, and what they perceive might not be what your aspirations are, or here, seated here in Lagos. Maybe, for them, they wanted a situation, because really what Oyetola did was a lot of fiscal tightening and restructure, a lot of discipline in Osun State. And I think that Osun people have a leaning to some sort of welfarist policies, right? And that was what Gboyega Oyetola did in the first place. Appoint more, free uniforms, meals in classrooms. He did a lot of populist projects, which ran the state into trouble anyway. But I think that they leaned towards those kind of populist projects. And you would expect that with the new governor coming in, he's going to lean towards that particular direction.
You mean they are eating the forbidden fruit?
he certainly is going to give the people what they want, at the end of the day. Now, whether that puts the state in a better fiscal condition is a different kettle of fish entirely. But it will be the decision. It will be the decision that they would have to live with, at the end of the day. But this does not suggest in any way that I'm saying that the PDP candidate or the PDP governor-elect would not put a good fiscal strategy in place. I'm just saying that it looks to me like the people of Osun lean towards more welfarist policies, which was, again, one of the issues they had with this incumbent governor. And if you want to win a second term in office, if you want to win the hearts and minds of people, you may have to adopt some sort of welfarist, socialist policies that make you popular, on the streets, and, give you some sort of electoral value going into the next election. Because every politician wants to win election at the end of the day. Remember what happened to Fayemi in Ekiti when he lost to Fayoshe 15-0 in the entire, an incumbent governor lose all local government because he was pursuing fiscal tightening. He wanted to retrain teachers. Hey, what are you doing here? We didn't tell you to come and shake the table this morning. And so he's learned his lessons that, that you have to balance politics and governance. And you have to govern based on the aspirations and the realities of your people.
Exactly.
Now, there's this question I need to ask you. And I will ask the PDP man too. This matter in court, how worried should Adeleke be?
So I think to the extent that if that case is pursued, even though, to be honest with you, I do not like the fact that we have a situation in our country where courts now have to decide, people who govern states. Because at the end of the day, like you saw in Imo, in Bayelsa, in Zamfara, you have people who did not have the electoral mandate governing their states. I believe it creates a lot of internal issues within the states. But
it means that the states, the parties, ought to get their acts
right, exactly,
order,
exactly.
From the start,
exactly. Yes. So they must take their internal processes very seriously. But in the Adeleke's case, if assuming it goes to the point where he had run foul of the Electoral Act in the primary state, I think that the verdict will not just go against him, but it would also reinstate the person who had taken the case to court, which is the guy in the PDP. I can't even remember his name now. Yeah, Babayemi in the PDP. So he will be the beneficiary of an election that he didn't contest or campaign for or to win, which really, at the end of the day, would make no sense to me. So the argument on the street, is that there's a horse trading behind the scene, or a deal is being done for him to pursue that case to a logical conclusion. And should he eventually win that case, you will remember who your helpers were at the end of the day. But the way the case is structured is not such that it will benefit the APC or the incumbent. No, because if they lose, if Adeleke loses in court, it will
look like the Amechi.
It will look like the Amechi scenario, where the guy in the primary is going to take over.
Because the political party is the one who owns, not the candidate.
Yes, not the candidate at the end of the day.
Diron, the case is still on. It's a case from Babayemi in court. Is the Adeleke crowd, or let me just put it this way, how scared are the Adeleke crowd that all this victory may become another man's jubilation?
We are not talking about Adeleke's crowd here. We are talking of PDP and the candidates. We are not in any way moved about what you are talking about. We are not even thinking about it. We are not thinking about it. We are not even giving it any thought. Don't forget, for PDP to have presented Adeleke as the candidate, we have a senior advocate of Nigeria as the legal advisor at the top. And don't forget, even among our membership in Osun State, we have various and many senior advocates of Nigeria. The case you are referring to is in court. Let's wait for the outcome of the court. We are not in any way. The way you are taking it is as if it is a serious matter. This is a political issue. It's normal. We are even anticipating and expect that between now and when you will be sworn in November by the special judge of court, there will be more series of court cases. So we expect it. We anticipate that this will happen. But as far as we are concerned, we are not moved. We are not even thinking about it. No.
But the question is not so much about whether it is Babayemi, I'm coming to you now, Babayemi or not, but whether the process was properly conducted.
Yes.
And if it's not properly conducted, it nullifies everything.
Exactly.
And APC could benefit.
Well, exactly. If it nullifies, the PDP still benefits. The difference is Adeleke won't be the governor-elect. It will be the man from the PDP who had petitioned the court that an irregularity had happened in their primary election, right? So, but this again goes to the heart of the matter, where we consistently argue.
No, there are two. There are two. They conducted two primaries.
Yes.
So if you say this one that produced the candidate is false.
Yes.
Yes. He has to prove that his own is right.
Yes. So,
but if in the final analysis, there's something wrong with this and there's something wrong with that.
Okay.
And that means that the whole PDP arrangements are not.
Oh yes. We really, truly, and hope that it doesn't get to that point.
because that's a scenario that people have looked at.
Exactly. Yes.
That
which is almost like the emo case.
It's like the emo case. That's
almost like the emo case.
That one person says that they had enough. They had the right. One side has the right delegates. The other side does not have the right delegates.
Yes.
One side had the right venue. The other side does not have the right venue.
Yes.
One side had the right officials. The other side did not have the right officials. So almost like one cancels out the other.
Oh yes. So honestly, my understanding is that if there's going to be a determination, it will be a determination as to which of the parties within the PDP conducted the legitimate primary elections
But if
that
each of
INEC
them
will
did not-
recognize.
did
Now,
not-
if each of them did
not
not,
it's not complete.
and INEC is saying, because in this kind of issue, INEC, just like it did in Zamfara, would have to determine that they did not recognize any primary election
Yes.
in that state.
Yeah.
Now, if it gets to that point, which I hope it doesn't, but if it gets to that point, then the APC will be a beneficiary. But then again, that now goes back to the heart of the issue, which is, why is it difficult for political parties or the major political parties in Nigeria to
resolve their
follow
issues?
their constitution and to conduct primary elections within their
According to
party
their own
guidelines?
rules and guidelines.
It is not esoteric. You were the ones that agreed to certain guidelines.
Okay.
Simply pursue those guidelines and hold up your primaries to that standard.
Yeah. All right, we have to leave you here now. We don't have the time anymore, but we thank you so much, Ademola Adeleke, for coming on this program this morning.
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
Dear Odeyemi, thank you so much for coming as well. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Dino, my name
Thank you.
is Sam Omashe.
I know Sam very well.
Maybe the question rattled you out of my name.
No, not in any way. Ruben.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you for coming. Yes. You know, the way this the outcome and the way people are looking at it, you know, anything can still happen.
Anything,
But,
yes.
Yeah, but the issue there is, everything that happens is still to the benefit of Osun people. That is what the thing is.
Whatever happens should.
Should.
Okay. Should be to the benefit
exactly.
of
Should,
Osun
should
people.
be, exactly. And the...
Maybe that is why Oyetola and his people are still examining the results.
Exactly. I have not said anything
I want to
yet.
be sure what they say.
Exactly.
Because they want to know what they see.
Exactly.
They've
And
been-
And they see it well.
Adeleke has said that, well, by now I expect the government to congratulate me, and he hasn't congratulated me yet.
They've been very quiet. That's why another person now, someone also came out to to denounce a perceived response by Asiwaju Tinubu, who he said he couldn't have assumed a defeatist response or reaction to Adeleke.
has not said anything
He hasn't
yet.
said anything. So whoever is peddling any information online that he has, accepted that, okay, there are losses, there are times for losses and there are times for victories, couldn't have come.
I think they mind the quote. It
Couldn't
said
have come from
some
Asiwaju.
other event,
Right.
some other
It
circumstance.
couldn't,
Yeah,
couldn't
not
have
this
come
one.
from Asiwaju,
right.
Asiwaju Tinubu about
Well,
it.
I think we have to wrap up now. This is where we close for today. We thank you. It's been an eventful day. It's been,
Yes.
it's been an
Interesting days
one.
ahead.
Yeah. All right.